Welcome back to part 2 of our 430 MEL engine teardown. For those of you who watched part 1 and can recall, this is what we have the block stripped down to. There are the heads right there on the pallet. Here's our project car. And where we left off was we got this rod cap off right here and saw that the bearings, despite the way this engine looks, I mean, look at that, it's pretty rough. Despite the way this engine looks, the bearings were absolutely beautiful. So, today, we're just going to continue cracking these rod caps off, maybe try to take these main caps off, see if we can't, well, no, we can't get it to turn, because in the last video I went through that the camshaft appeared to be in good shape, but all the lifters were rusted. So, we're going to have to work those lifters out from the bottom. And that's why we're taking the rotating assembly out today. Also, cylinders number 1 and 5 appear to be seized. I'm fairly certain this engine might have gone underwater at some point. So, we're going to be working on that today. And I'm just going to go continue with these caps. So let's get started. About to crack this one off. Look at that camshaft down in there. Look at how nice it is. Relatively speaking. That's what I want to see. That's so beautiful. Alright, so, update. I hope I didn't just figure out why this car was parked. Well, I don't think so, because if you watched the last video, you would know that the rod caps are all numbered. That one's 1. This one's got a 2 on it. Also, the metal timing gear, AC Delco parts. We suspect someone's been in this engine before. But, went and pulled off this rod cap, and the bearing didn't come with it. I hope that's not an indicator of a spun bearing. You know... Well, I guess while we have that off, really interesting, you could see here, you could actually see on the rod cap, Fomoco 1057. Part number, what is that, EOF 6211. Another general observation I want to make. I don't know if this was a balancing thing. Make sure that number is facing out, because that's how rebuilding shops number them. But look at this on the bottom of this piston, the bottom of this rod cap. It's like some sort of counterweight. This one is taller than these. See that? If that was some sort of balancing thing that they did at the factory or something, do let me know in the comments, because I'm very curious on that. But anyway, we're going to keep going and see how the rest of the accessible pistons look. Alright, well, we finally went down and got one of these harmonic balancer pullers. I'm using it on a crank pulley. Don't tell them. There I go, using it the wrong way. It's coming off, look at that. It's coming off really easily, actually, like everything else on this engine. Oh. Bam! Look at that. All right, so now we can pull this off. See, this is your timing cover. So that part is integrated into the timing cover. This timing cover is aluminum. So that can just be wire brushed if you want. I'm gonna put it down right here for now. There's some sort of spacer here. It's probably a good idea to keep. It's like there's a secondary Woodruff key to align it. Yep. Notice under there, there's a secondary Woodruff key to align the timing gear on the crank pulley. Well, I do believe the Ford engineers have a bit of a solution for our stuck distributor problem. They gave us a pry hole on the front of the block. How about that? Maybe we'll try that and see if it does anything. Well, now with that little triumph done, I feel like it's time we turn our attention to these heads. You can see the springs are covered with rust, but they appear to be in okay shape. And we're going to be forced to reuse them because I have no clue where you're going to get new springs for this engine. One of the downsides. I forgot what the underside looks like. Well, that's not horrible if you're crazy like I am. Yeah, a little bit of Marvel Mystery Oil on a scrubber pad. Those will be good as new. Yeah, you know, there is those minor problems. Okay. I don't know about you, but I'd say that's a significant improvement. We're going to ignore that and that. Those are just sticky valve stems. It's fine. That was... I can see the springs compressing a little. That one's bouncy. Like my hitting device, I just grabbed whatever was convenient. Plus this one's got a little more weight to it than a hammer. Okay, so a fair amount of these are stuck, which frankly really doesn't surprise me. I think they need some automatic transmission fluid. What say you? Alright, one of the last things I'm going to do is try to work on those exhaust manifold bolts. Got the blowtorch and PB blaster ready to go. Gonna heat them up and hit them with PB blaster. Hope they suck them in and work them loose. You know, there are plenty of videos on YouTube on people doing that, so I don't think I necessarily have to go through the entire procedure. Now, one thing is these bolts on the back here, I don't know how well you can see them. Allegedly, those are brass, or they were from the factory. I don't know if those are. They might have been replaced at some point. Those I've heard, allegedly, you just kind of have to melt them off if they get stuck. And if that's the case, I don't know if I have the capabilities to do that with a propane torch, so that's going to be a machine shop thing. I cannot believe that is working. Quite a chilly day today, I'll say that. You know, I have to imagine wood screws are not the preferred method of cleaning rust and gunk out of lifters. But, you know, we're working with what we got here. Also, after being upside down, that moves a little bit. And up and down too. We might just get this trashed distributor off. Wonder if this is rebuildable. Because the gear in the bottom didn't look too bad. And we can replace these internals. You can tell I'm not that experienced. But anyway. This is just one of the things I found online, is get a pick of some sort and clear all the rust and gunk from around them, and then try to hit them with a penetrating oil. Those, including this one with the broken off lifter, the broken off push rod, that one might be a little bit more of a challenge, but we'll try. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a breakthrough. Look at that. This one moves too. That one moved. I've just been popping these pins out. You can see the pile of them right here. Again, these lifters are shot, so I don't care about saving them, but movement gives me hope. Okay, so it's time we try to attack these lifters again. I did somehow manage to pry 2 of them out, but the others are stuck, so I say it's heat time. We're gonna heat them, maybe hit them with some PB Blaster, and then, well, I was gonna get one of those lifter pullers with the slide hammer, but I got something else that might work, so we'll also try that as well. Huh. Take 2. Now I should mention rust is an insulator, but we'll see if we can heat these lifters, make them expand, and then the trick is you spray some PB Blaster right on them, and when they contract, they suck it in. At least that works with brake lines anyway. We'll see if it works with lifters. And now how I plan to get some of those lifters out are to use some of these internal pipe wrenches that I bought. I figure I can grab the inside of the lifter, they'll cam out. Well, if it'll focus. They'll cam out. and then I'll be able to turn them, break the rust, and pry them out. Obviously, I feel like I should say that I do not plan on reusing these lifters. Obviously. And if you're concerned about my lifter bores, well, those actually still look really good. But those ones came out easy. And let me put it to you this way. Anything that, well, they're already destroyed. So, you know, I guess I'd rather have a destroyed lifter bore that needs to be sleeved, that has the lifter out, than not. Because otherwise, that's just, you know, the machine shop will charge you for that. And the way I see it at this point, I'm just kind of going and reducing the amount of money I'd have to spend at the machine shop. So we'll give these a try. Well, before it goes to the machine shop, time to try to take care of that distributor. Well, that went well. I would just like to point out that this was the only 430 engine on carpart.com that did not have the word core in the description. Oh well. Well, since it's going to sit overnight, I'm probably just going to have to cut the shaft on this and basically break that out of there with a punch and a chisel. I've decided in a last-ditch effort to free specifically that lifter that I'm going to go dump some CLR in the valley and let it sit overnight. Who knows, maybe that will get us somewhere. Well, I don't know what we're going to come out to see tomorrow, but, well, here goes. Well, ultimately, the difference that made was quite negligible. Worth a shot, I guess. Alright, so you can see, remember I snapped the distributor off. Hey, there it is. So I just took a hacksaw and sawed that shaft off, and this center shaft moves. It's free. Remember, we could kind of rotate the, what was that called? That rotating contact. Oh well, I'm blanking. And you can see it in there, so since it moves, I want to try to grab the inside of this with my internal pipe wrenches if I can. So I'm going to go try to drill it out now. Let's see. Okay, well, with the internal pipe wrenches not working, I did it. I got a lifter removal tool, one of these. It's got the slide hammer on it, so you could put a little force to try to break the rust. You're just trying to shock it free, I think. Well, it's actually for upward force for pulling stuck lifters, but in this case we can use it for shock to break free rusted lifters. At least that's how it should work in theory. Of course, it's got the expandable collet that'll go down inside the lifter and grip it. So, well, I've said it before, said it a million times in this episode. Let's try it. What's the worst that could happen? Remember one of those severely rusted lifters? There is hope. There is hope. That's right. We're doing battle with these. and we're winning. I don't believe it. The cam is shiny. I thought the thing was never coming out in this garage. Holy cow. This makes me feel good. This makes me feel really good. That's 3. That's 3 of the 4. Holy cow. Shiny cam. Pretty good lifter bore too. That's surprising. This is the last one. This is the last lifter. And it's the worst. This is the one that had the snapped off push rod in it. I don't know if I've mentioned that before. I think I might have in the last video. This one's gonna be the battle. So right now, I've got the power drill. I love how I specify I'm using a power drill because I would use my hand drill. But, you know, I got the power drill and I'm just attacking that snapped off push rod right now to try to grind it down as much as possible so that tool can get in and grab that ridge where the clips originally held on. Because currently it can't get it. So once I get that all drilled out, grinding down maybe is the more appropriate term. I don't think that's drilling out very well. We're going to get that tool on it. Come on, baby. Been working at it for like 10 minutes. I think we have a little bit of movement because you can see the outline of the lifter and you couldn't before. We're getting somewhere. It's free. It's free. It's free. That's a trophy. This is a trophy. Look at how just the top is just complete rust. It's still got the snapped off push rod in there. It's free. That's a trophy. That's a war prize. This tool, worth the $27. I'm ecstatic. I can't believe it. There it is. There's the bore. There's the, okay, the camshaft is a little crusty down there, but these bores aren't too bad, but there it is. There it is. Now, of course, one of the last things to do before you take an engine to the machine shop is, I've heard from other videos on YouTube that this is just in general a good idea, is to type out your instructions and requests onto a piece of paper so you have something to give them. So obviously I have my name and phone number. They need to contact me. I put the type of engine that I have, and right here, made sure to highlight it so it stands out. Plankhead engine, combustion chamber in block, deck angled. Because they probably don't see too many engines like this. And I'm not throwing shade at any machinists here or anything, but I'd rather make that glaringly obvious so, you know, there are no mistakes or anything. Plus, they like it too, I've heard, because, you know, they just look at it and see. But, So my things are, I'm going to need all these parts returned, so don't scrap them because there's just not a lot of replacements available. I did specify the engine is seized and it will require disassembly of some of the components. That right there said some lifters stuck, but I printed this off like a month ago and have managed to get them out since then, so I just scratched that off. We need the block heads and intake manifold cleaned, and I'm going to add also the, might as well send the water pump there too. And the cylinders hones, some may need to be bored and sleeved. I specified that I wish to retain my stock 4.3 inch bore, so that one with the built-up rust will likely need to be bored, and we're going to sleeve it so it retains that stock bore. New freeze plugs installed. I know you can do brass or stainless steel. I'll just go with whatever they recommend for longevity in that. New cam bearings installed. Since they have a special tool to do it that I do not, I figure I'll let them do it, and I have ordered cam bearings that I will provide for them. I broke off an exhaust manifold bolt. I broke off a valley pan bolt, so hopefully they can get those out. And I want them to remove the small thermostats that MELs have because they're unnecessary. Finally, just in case they need them, I included torque specs for the parts, just in case they need them. Here's for the head bolts. All right. Let's get this puppy loaded up and sent out. So this is what the scene inside the garage looks like. This is all the junk we have to move in order to get this engine out, because parts of my engine hoist were on a pallet behind the car, but in order to push the car out 2 feet so we can get to it, we had to move all the rest of this junk, and that was a pain in the rear, to say the least. But at least everything is set up and ready to go. Also, just I finally figured out what this bung on the side of the engine was for. Remember how our oil pump had that little like 5/8 inch steel line coming off of it? Well, apparently this is actually for a vacuum pump. There's a vacuum pump on the oil filter, and that is meant to operate vacuum operated windshield wipers on the old Lincolns. But, you know, it's not really necessary anymore since this 300, I think, has electric windshield wipers. So, not a big deal. That's a good thing because, remember, I snapped the tube off. This is also why if you look up new or aftermarket oil pumps for FEs or MELs, they do not have that line coming off of them because it is wholly unnecessary. Well, of course, I think that would be dependent on like kits being available to convert those old Lincolns to electric windshield wipers, but, you know, wholly unnecessary. Handed this to my brother the other day while he was helping me move stuff. He's like, man, smells like the barns at the train museum. Man, it does. All right. We got everything strapped down in my U-Haul truck. The block. Come over here. The head's in there. Intake manifold, crank pulley, water pump, and of course, and over here, got our instructions, our box of bolts and other miscellaneous parts, and our FE flywheel. right, I think we're ready to go. Tomorrow. Yep. It's gone.